Hey, hey, everyone. Welcome in. I'll continue to admit people. Hi, Emma. Hi, Bella. Hi, Catherine. Hi, Lauren. Hi, Liz. Very warm welcome to this evening. And for those from the Northern Hemisphere, good morning to you. Thank you so much for joining us for this beautiful evening under the backdrop of the full moon in Sagittarius. She is so ripe and plump. I was down at the lake this afternoon with my son, and it was just so incredibly picturesque. And there were apricots and blues and purples through the sky. Also, a really warm welcome to those that are going to join us in this now moment on the YouTube replay, and to all the YouTube subscribers as well. We're sending you such a warm welcome into this container as well. So tonight I'm mixing it up. I'm really excited because I get to receive and enjoy this evening as well. So I'm really excited to introduce the beautiful women that I've traveled with overseas with. I feel like, I mean, Bella, I saw you today. Emma, I've already been in contact with you today. So these are the people I love the most. And I'm sharing you another lady that I love so much, a beautiful special guest this evening, Rubia, Lacerda. We met last year in person after following each other online, and like, go you, sister. And she's like, go you, lady of light. So it was really quite beautiful when we met one another at the Paradigm Shift Summit. It's a really amazing summit that gets run in Australia about extraterrestrial and communication with our galactic star brothers and sisters, and really the evolving consciousness that is sweeping the planet. So I'm really excited to share a beautiful sister with my community tonight. Rubia, welcome in. Welcome into my tribe. I'll just get Rubia to share a little bit about herself and about a little bit about her story. And then we're just going to flow this evening. If you've got any questions, if something inspires you in the moment, just either unmute and ask Rubia, or you can ask me a question. Or also another option is just to put your questions in the chat. After this evening, we'll allow, like another 15 minutes just for Q&A. Okay, Rubia, thanks so much for joining us.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Myra. It's such a great honor and pleasure to be here. Hello, everybody. It's so nice to see some friendly faces on the screen as well. And hello to all who are also watching the replay. And I'm curious, for those of you that are live, like, how much do you know about me? Do you know who I am? I know that Myra has introduced me. If you let me know in the comments. What I would also love to know as well, if you have any specific questions, you're like, Ruby's here tonight and I would love to ask her, or I would love to hear her talk more about this, please put in the comments. I would love to, yes, to hear more, and I'll share with you what's been happening today as part of an activation of being here, sharing more with you. So for those that don't know much about me, I am a channeler of the Arcturians, a quantum healer and a spiritual mentor. And I've been in this world of channeling going back to when I was 16, so over 20 years ago. So it's something that I was born with, born quite gifted, medium and psychic, but growing up in a small countryside, country town in Brazil, I couldn't really talk much about it. So I tried to be as normal as I possibly could. And although I started having really strong experiences when I was 16 in my sleep, and I told my parents, and they were quite supportive. They said, "What do you want to do?" So I actually had a friend of their friend was a spiritist, and he was quite open. And he said he came over, brought all these books, and said, "Rubia, you have mediumship abilities." And that's when things started to get really bad with the dreaming, with the experiences, which I later found out when I would be sitting on my bed. I would be lying in bed. I would be sleeping, and then I would wake up. There was a hybrid being, so parts human, parts light being. I prefer the word light being than extraterrestrial. And we would be talking, and then I would wake up quite scared and call my mother and say there was a blonde woman sitting on my bed. She would think it was cute. And then many years later, I found out that I was already that they were already making contact, and I explained that in my so it's when I was asleep, but that's when you're in that state that you're almost falling asleep, or when you just wake up. I was in that in between state is when they used to use to communicate the most. And life happened. I went to uni, came to Australia, work at all the jobs, and I thought, if I get a government job, I get citizenship and I get a government job, then I'm happy. And all of that happened, and I was far from happy, as in feeling fulfilled. And in 2015, I decided that I needed a 5-year naturopathy degree. So I started because I thought I needed a degree to be worthy of doing something, of sharing my gifts with the world. And that only lasted about a year and a half. I did quite a few healing courses, transpersonal counseling. And when I started sharing my gifts with the world, I started activating light language. And I was really afraid of sharing about light language and my connection with light beings. So I was doing a healing session on a client, and I remember thinking, I can't do this forever. I was doing pranic healing. So for those of you that don't know, pranic healing is quite similar to Reiki. And as I was doing this session, I remember thinking, God, I can't do this forever. This is boring. I love talking, I love healing, but I feel like I can share more with people. And as I thought that, my third eye opened up, and it was like this portal opened up, and I saw it was 5 or 6 blue beings. This was in 2018. And they said, Rubia, there's something that we can share with you. You are actually going to be able to reach the world and help so much more the world, and help so many more people. And I remember thinking, go away. I cannot tell people from a small country town that I'm seeing extraterrestrial blue beings, because at the time I was practicing in Brazil. I went there for 3 months to practice. And they actually did go away for about a year and a half. And I was in Australia. I came back to Australia. I started working full time again because I was trying to be a really normal counselor and healer. I really wanted to fit in a box. And when I tried to fit in a box, things were just not working out. Nothing was working out. So I was started working in a call center, talking to people about their rates and the water bills. You guys can imagine, it was so painful. Um, and I remember I had been in that job for about 10 months, and I remember thinking, I just cannot. Just show me what it is. Show me what it is, and I'll do it. And the same day or the day after, this is all when COVID was coming out. There were lockdowns. It was like a bit of a mess in the world. I saw this woman talking live about the programs and beliefs that we have that will hold us back. And I so resonated with that, with the program of that I wasn't worthy of doing what I loved and receiving money for it. So I had a session with her, and it was one of the most transformational sessions of my life. And then I remember I need to do that. I need to learn that. And the Arcturians at the time started coming really strongly. I didn't know that they were Arcturians. I just knew that they were light beings. And I had an experience, a meditation, really deep meditation experience where I just heard this voice, intuitive voice saying, God creator, Rubia, it's time. It's time. You must share this with the world. And through a series of synchronistic events that I can't even explain, I said, okay, I'm going to channel you. I'll let you guys come through, whoever you are. I can feel that you're of the light. I know that you're not from this planet, this dimension. So I did a little ceremony in my house and I let them come through and I channeled them for the first time. And the message, the feeling, and I had the flatmates at the time. And she said, Rubia, that was out of this world. The next day, I wrote a post about what they shared, and they said something along the lines, don't let the madness of your mind and the ego stop you from sharing your soul's calling with the world, which was exactly what I was doing. And at the time, I was a member of Gaia TV. Are you guys familiar with Gaia TV? It's like, spiritual Netflix. And because I was a member, I was in their Facebook group that had over 20,000 members. And I just thought, I'm just going to share my post coming out. So I shared a post on social media that day on my Facebook business page and on my Instagram, not on my personal Facebook page. And I just thought, I'm just going to share this post on the Gaia TV group. And somehow they approved my post because I'm telling the story that I just told you guys. I just shared a really small version of that. I grew up in a small country town. I've had these gifts my whole life. I decided to share with the world. I channel ETs, and here I am. And guys, the post, no one has ever heard of me. Like I wasn't public, I just, my friends on Facebook and Instagram, and that was it. And that post blew up. I had hundreds of comments and likes from people from all over the world. And some comments were quite long. And people saying, I cried reading your post. I resonated so much. Oh my God, you just told me, you just told my story. I wish I had your courage. Good on you. Thank you for doing this. And in that moment, I remember thinking, okay, something is going on here and I don't know what to do. So show me the next step. I started giving free channeling sessions for in exchange for a testimonial that I never got. And I did that just a few times in a week and I was fried. And I remember thinking, okay, I need help. Show me. And that same week, I met someone who said, I know a galactic business mentor that helps people like you to put their gifts and abilities, offer their gifts and abilities to the world. So I met this woman. It was an investment that I didn't even think ever about the possibility of investing that in a mentorship. And I had the opportunity to take out finance and I went all in. I said, okay, let's do this. I have nothing to lose. It's COVID. I remember thinking, because it was madness in the world, I remember thinking, there's a possibility that the world could implode. I don't know if you guys had this feeling, but I remember in 2020 feeling like this could end. Like it feels like crazy here. Like I don't know what could happen here. And I remember thinking, if I die, at least I'm going to die happy, doing what I love, which is trying to put my passion out into the world. So I went all in, and it was really tough to transition from being an employee my whole life to being an entrepreneur and to transitioning from getting that same amount of money every week and then me making it happen. Even harder through spiritual work, charging for spiritual work and being comfortable with that. So I went through a huge journey of transformation and initiation where I launched program after program that no one ever signed up. And I remember thinking, at least I'm trying. I'm having fun trying. I'm enjoying this. I'm going to keep going. And I had many opportunities. I started teaching in someone else's program. I would have clients. Things would just work out. And I remember over a year ago, probably about 2 years ago, I started receiving a message that, again, about my voice reaching the world. There was nothing in my physical reality that would show me that I was going to be able to go global, but I could see it so clearly. I could see it. I saw during a meditation experience. I saw myself. I was like outside. I was like the observer. I was observing me as Rubia Lacerda and me being the observer. And I saw Rubia as the avatar, and I saw the voice of Rubia reaching the planet. And I took that vision very seriously. I said, okay, show me how to get there. And I remember one day I I had a huge to-do list. There were things on my to-do list that were like 3 months behind. I said, okay, today I'm going to do these tasks, and I sat down. And as I sat down, I heard a very clear voice, Rubia, put that list aside, and you're going to do two things today. You're going to message Aaron, which is a client of mine in the United States that has a lot of contacts, and you're going to apply for this podcast. I said, oh, but I don't want to bother Aaron. What if I don't make it to the podcast? And I remember this my intuition was like, stop it. Stop with the madness of your mind and your ego. So I messaged her and she's like, oh my God, I've been meaning to contact you so that you can come on my podcast. By the way, I've been being interviewed on podcasts because she blew up quite fast. She used to work on Wall Street. She was talking about helping people manifest. She was talking a lot about money, and all of a sudden she started talking about star seeds and light language on social media. And she's really good with all the marketing and everything. So her channel just went. She was getting a lot of attention fast. So she started being interviewed on podcasts, and she said, "By the way, I'm being interviewed on podcasts, and I'm telling them about you that you're my quantum healer and channeler." I said, "Okay, great." And so I got interviewed on a podcast, which was quite small. There wasn't a lot of views on that one, but it was kind of, I think a lot of people go to that podcast to find people there. And then I got invited, just Alex from Next Level Soul just landed on my inbox, never heard of it. Said, would you like to come on the podcast? So I went to check it out. I was like, oh my God, of course I would. And that was in that happened July last year. And simultaneously, I went through a huge spiritual awakening where I wanted to give everything up. I didn't want to have anything to do with this world. I had an experience with plant medicine where I was blown open, and I was, imagine your psychic abilities on steroids. So it was a lot. And it brought up all this trauma up to the surface that I didn't know I had. It was like, imagine 5 years of healing crisis being done in 6 months. So basically, that's what I went through last year. And I decided to continue saying yes to the mission. And this year, everything I was telling Myra, I was having a chat earlier, things are happening faster than I can comprehend because I'm just taking aligned action on those little intuitive nudges that have been coming up. And all these experiences have allowed my nervous system capacity to expand so that I can hold more. Because in the past, even though all of these big things were happening, I wasn't able to create the success that I wanted to create because I didn't have the expanded nervous system. Do you guys have any questions so far? Because I could keep going. As you can see, I can just talk and talk and talk and talk. And I just saw a comment here of Jess. I so understand that I cannot fit in a box or book or stay in the lines. The planet has not been the same since 100%, Jess. Yes, yes. It's the more that we try to fit in a box, it's like life doesn't flow. When I fully trusted and surrendered into what was trying to coming through, everything started to flow. And now I have been doing that and things are flowing more than ever with that full trust where you just imagine, like Myra and I were talking earlier, where you allow yourself to fall into the arms of the universe and of creation because you have that trust. And one day I met the CEO of a really well-known mushroom company. I forgot the name. And he asked me a great question. He said, Rubia, if there was one thing you could share with people, you could teach people, it's just one thing that you're going to share with them, nothing else that you think it would be key. And I said to him, that would be trust in themselves, in creation, or in creator of all that is, and in their gifts and abilities. So trust. With that, everything follows. Does that make sense, guys? Is that helpful? Yes, I see some yeses. Catherine said, do I ask again? I'm curious and terrified about it. Was going to do it. but got a message not to, so I didn't. If you get a message not to do it, it's definitely a calling. If you have a calling, of course, do your research regarding shamans, regarding preparation, regarding integration. And I would never, ever, like never say never, but I will never, ever do plant medicine again because I'm alive. And many times last year, I thought I was going to die through the integration process. There are moments that I thought I'm either going to die or I'm going to go crazy because I was too open. And I actually did another plant medicine. Plant medicine, it's too popular. There are too many people calling themselves shamans and facilitators that should not, and people are not taking it seriously. You can't do such medicine and go back into your day-to-day life with Wi-Fi, walking in cities, cars, everything. It's a medicine of the jungle. And it's a medicine of they're medicines of jungle and desert. And the way that it's being done, we are abusing the medicine. So there's nothing wrong with the medicine. The problem is the consciousness behind it. So proceed with caution is what I tell people, and do a lot of research. And yes, that would be my answer, lovely. So if you got a message not to do it, definitely listen to that. And you said I was going to do, I think you should find your higher self without enhancements. You can definitely do that. It is challenging for me to speak about plant medicine because it completely changed my life. I stopped drinking alcohol. I had a problem with alcohol. I've been sober for 6.5 years. It's taken my abilities to the next level, but it also almost killed me. So it's challenging for me to say, do it, don't do it. And if you're talking about Mexico, the medicine that I actually did that I almost, died, it's DMT-5-MeO with some called bufo, the toad. It's one of the most powerful psychedelics on the planet. So the dangers is it's as a channel psychic medium for people like us that are quite open doing these medicines and where you are, the shaman that you do, you can open portals, you can be infiltrated. There's a lot of dangerous things that can happen, just as well as incredible, wonderful things that can happen. Do you guys have any questions at all? Myra, do you have any questions, any comments, anything you'd like me to touch on before I keep going?
No, I feel quite good. I think we should proceed.
Okay, amazing. And what I would love to touch on as well, I have been talking a lot about the law of manifestation. Do you guys like manifestation and creation? Is that something that you're interested on, creating, manifesting, your ideal reality? So I love telling stories. It's my favorite. And I recently bought my dream car, and everything happened so fast. This is like, I can see that there's a theme coming up today about taking aligned action fast. I spent 4 months in Brazil and I just got back a month ago, and I decided I was going to go back there after being in Australia for 18 years. And when I arrived back in Australia, I felt, okay, I'm going to be here at least until the end of the year. And 2 days in, I remember thinking, this new version of me cannot drive my car anymore. I would get in my car, I'm like, this car is old. It's not me. This car is a cute car for, like this is 20-year-old Rubia. This is not, Goddess Rubia, Black Panther, whatever, I said, I want a Black Panther car. And I will explain to you guys more about the Black Panther too. And I found the car, exactly the price that I wanted, the perfect car. I was like, wow, this is amazing. And then just going through my things, last year I deleted a lot of things. I left all the plant medicine groups, and I thought I had deleted my vision board. And I found my vision board because I have an online one, guys. And guess what? Exactly the same car was in my vision board that I put on January of 2023. And back in January 2023, there was not much in my physical material reality that would say I could do that. So, and the activations that I've been receiving through having this car and driving this car, it's a new version of me. And how did I reach that? I took aligned action fast without fear, stepping into the unknown. And a big thing that I share a lot is I worked on expanding my nervous system capacity to hold, to be the version of me that could have the car and felt worthy and deserving of having the car. Because back in still a year and a half, I didn't feel worthy and deserving, and I didn't have the nervous system capacity to hold that car, to have that car. Does that make sense? And how I did it as well, which let me see if we can do that tonight. Yeah, we can do that tonight, actually. I would love to do that. One thing that I started doing in 2020 is connecting with the future version of me that I was having the life that I wanted to live and create. So I would see myself talking in worldwide known famous podcasts, or I would see myself driving the car. I remember driving my old car and thinking it's a black BMW. I remember driving my old car and saying, oh my God, my black BMW, Black Panther, you're so sexy. I love driving you. So I was already tuning into that future version of me that was already living that life. And guess what? This is trippy. Rubia now, I remember going back talking to Ruby in 2020. So I remember having the visions. So both me now and I remember in 2020 giving information to Rubia 2020, 2021, 2022 Rubia to keep going. And I would say a lot to her. All I had to say was to keep going. Because if I said too much, or if future version said to Rubia at the time any too much, she would just make it mean something. You know, when you go to a psychic, like I not that I go to psychic, but psychics that will tell you exactly what's going to happen to your future, then you hold on to that. You know, you're going to get married with a blonde guy when you're 30 years old, and then it doesn't happen and you're disappointed for like 2 years, but the psychic said kind of thing. So it was kind of the same thing that future self was doing with me, was telling me, keep going. And guys, there were so many times that I just wanted to give up, but I kept going because I remember my future self saying that. So Myra was telling me a little bit about all of you, and I was tuning into the field. So I tune in before I come in, tune into the field, and I felt a really, really strong feline energy, really strong feline presence. And I talk about the 12D family of light. So I work closely with the Arcturians, and there's 12D family of light, which the frequency that they share with me is this really feline frequency. And I feel in this container very strongly this feline frequency as well. And feel quite strongly your star seed connections, whether you are aware of not or how much you are aware of it. I'm curious for those of you that are attending live, that are here live, do you guys feel that connection? Is that something that, yes, some of you are saying yes. And what I feel quite strongly is that, like, I feel so strongly like how you're, like Myra, you and your group, like are holding really strong pillars of changing the entire course of humanity, of where humanity is heading towards. So it's amazing the work that you are all doing. I can feel quite strongly. And you're saying, someone just said, future self-projection, live as your future self. Yes, we are. And Catherine said, people tell me they see it in me, which is leading me to explore it. Do you mean like the star seed? Yes, 100%. And even us having this conversation, I feel like you may have dreams, you may have experiences, things that may happen in the next few hours, days, and even weeks connected to this. So what I would love to do is to take you through an activation where I'm going to share, I'm going to get you to connect, because we're talking about future self and this connection, connect with this future self version of you. And I'm going to bring through some light language as well. Are you guys familiar with light language? I have a feeling you are. Okay, so before we do that, I would love for you to tune in. You can tune in your mind. You can write down if you like. And this is something that you can do at your own time as well. I would love for you to tune in into the one thing that you want, that you wish to be to bring through into your reality. Let's say it could be with your mission, it could be with money. If it's money, what is it that money is going to bring? So let's say it's a travel, see yourself on holiday in Europe, for example. Well, if you're not in Europe, holiday somewhere in the world. And if it's a relationship, I would love for you to tune into that version of you that's already doing the thing, living the life, having the thing. How does she feel? How does that version of you, how do they feel? How do they, what are the words that they're speaking? How is it that they're walking? How is it that they're dressing? What is it that they're wearing? How confident are they? How much do they trust in self? Really connect with that version of you, like allow it to be tangible. Imagine with visions, with sensations, with feelings. You may feel it in your body. Your chakras may start getting activated. Your sacral chakra may feel quite activated because that's the very, the Black Panther, allowing it to work in your field. And while you're there, if you have your eyes closed, you can stay with your eyes closed. I'll take you through the activation now, whatever you feel most comfortable. I recommend doing with eyes closed. And if at any moment you feel like you wish to open your eyes, you can do that as well. And I'm just saying that because I want you to know that you're in charge and I want you to feel as comfortable as possible. So with your eyes closed, taking a couple of deeper breaths, really tuning into this version of you, this ideal version of you that you just tuned into. And I would like to share with you that version of you already exists on a parallel timeline with a parallel version of you that is currently existing in this moment, right here, right now. And really connecting on a deeper level with that version of you now. Feel that in your body. Feel that version in your body, your mind, your soul, and allowing the sounds, the light language to support with this process. Feeling this beautiful healing golden light being placed around your work field and all your chakras. And anything that I bring through, you can have an energetic yes or no. So it's all done with your permission only. Allowing this beautiful golden light to support with the process of you now merging with this version of you that you are visualizing, feeling, this version of you that you are being, letting the sounds flow through you to support with this process. Rok oshikta ayo korniata naya koria shio urrokotoya naya kork eshiata no koyata hayo korrokoshtiata nayo hayo haya allowing this version of you to share a message. Let them share a message with you that may come through now, it may come through later. I invite you to fully trust that the experience you're having is perfect. What is the message that they would like to share? And bringing through now, as you continue connecting with this version of you, will bring through the golden light, the trust key code, allowing you to receive, to feel deeper trust, trust in yourself, your gifts and abilities, and trust in the creator of all that is and in creation itself, that you are a fractal of source experiencing itself in human form. Receive Hare Shurokota Orneaka E Shurokota Harna Kashiata Urroko Orna Ashiota Eraka Tor Shioka Nareke Neshito Heyata Harokuteara Nektera Ko Furukoshita. Opening the receptors of yourself so that you are able to know how it feels to fully trust. Divine beings of light, thank you for sharing your light with the world, for having courage to take human form and be on this planet of duality. You are so needed, and your mission is so important. And breathe and feel the beautiful version of you merging with this one, with your current beautiful version of self. And feeling the high frequency of love in all parts of your body, all your organs, all your cells, all your atoms. And as love reverberates through your whole being, connecting to your heart and thanking you for saying yes, thanking yourself. And in a moment, I'm going to invite you to gently come back. And there is no rush for this part of the process. Make sure that you do it very gently at your own time, taking a couple of deeper breaths. You may bring some movements to your fingers and toes. When you're ready, you can open your eyes. Taking all the time that you need. You may need to be there for a little bit longer. And for those of you that are here live, if you like to share with a few words in the comments, there's no pressure at all because you could be still on another timeline. And I'm just going to give you a few seconds. I don't want to bombard you with words and information as you are coming back. And I would love to ask beautiful souls that are here present, if you have any questions at all about what I shared today, about the activation, anything, ask me, ask away. I feel like questions are the answers, and they are the most powerful tools of growth and ascension. Before we started the activation, Jess said synchronicity is amazing, had something weird happen today, but so empowering. I'm curious. And Myra said, soft, sublime, gentle. Such love. Emma said, such lovely harmonies. And Myra said, my future self said, it's fun, it's easy. Oh my God. Yes. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. That's something so important. So glad your future self said that. Because that is part of recipe for everything. We must make this fun and joyful, because let's be honest, life on earth can be a little bit crazy. You know, there's crazy things that happen on this planet. So if we make it fun and joyful, we support others to do the same. Yes. Yeah. I'm not seeing any questions come through. Myra, would you like to ask any questions? And maybe it's a question that you feel like your beautiful humans would like to ask.
Yeah, ladies, this is an opportunity to ask Rubia if there's like a theme you've been working on, or questions about the process, people opening up their channeling instruments, their throat chakra. This is a really beautiful time. So please feel that you can. You've got Rubia and I here, both of us. So we'll just give a moment if anyone's typing, or you can unmute yourself. Any questions? Yeah, Bella.
I'm not getting any questions coming to me. It's just that end of the day and my mind is pretty blank, particularly after that beautiful activation. I just wanted to say thank you. It's been, yeah, a pleasure to hear from you. And I'm feeling a lot of powerful energy settling from this conversation, and quite a few synchronicities in what you've said and how that's similar experiences have occurred in my life. So yeah, it's just great to be here.
Amazing. Thank you for sharing, lovely. I appreciate that. And I feel like Emma wanted to either share something or ask a question.
Thanks, Rubia, putting me on the spot. It's interesting. Let's see. I really don't have any particular questions dropping in. But if we're in this channeling kind of world, like I don't have a clear channel that speaks in a way to me like it speaks to you. But do you have any sense of the guides around me, or like, yeah, the connection that's in place with me? Gosh, it's hard to find the right words after
No,
that.
I totally get it.
Okay, thank you.
How does your intuition work?
I feel things, and yeah, I get sensations, and there's some visuals that will come in as well. Yeah, I wish it was a bit more clear actually, and that I understood the messages more clearly.
Okay. And how much do you trust what you receive when you feel and when you get visuals?
I'm learning to trust that more. I'm strengthening my daily practice. And I guess that connection on the daily is getting stronger. Discernment's getting stronger.
Okay. So today we downloaded like a trust key code that you can access. So if you like to connect with that, you can. So the more that you trust, the more you receive, and more you receive, the more you trust. And what I'm getting is that your guides, they're actually saying we want to co-create with you, and they're saying we want to show you who we are or tell you more. So that this is and make this like a fun exploration of connecting more with them. Because the more, and
Beautiful.
they're saying don't and this is something I say, don't say, for example, oh, I wish I had the abilities that Rubia has, for example. I wish I could hear more like her or trust more like her. No, that you really nourished your intuition the way that it works now. So like I feel it. That's so good. That's so great. I'm so grateful that I can feel so much. And sometimes I get some visuals and I'll trust what I receive. And a great thing, it's like doubt your doubts instead of doubting yourself or your intuition. So when the doubt comes, I'm like, today I'm going to doubt my doubt, not my intuition and what I'm receiving.
That's beautiful. Yeah. Yeah, I really had an experience of that on the weekend when I missed my morning meditation. And then, I don't know, some crazy, what did you call it? Head hypnosis, Myra? The head hypnosis really got me badly. And then I went back into that inner space and connected, and then everything just came back into harmony again, just that good space.
Yes.
That's really important to keep coming back down into the heart.
Yes.
Thank you.
You're so welcome. And embracing all the parts of you. If there's ever doubt, instead of going, oh my God, I'm doubting again, I shouldn't doubt. Hug that part like the child version of you. Come here. I know you're doubting today, but it's okay. You're human. We all doubt. So like really treating that part like a child instead of being like harsh and beating yourself up because of it. So that's really important as well. Yes. Does that answer your question, lovely?
It does. And then one more piece has just dropped in to ask you about. In this week, I've just been having really big headaches and a really kind of central nervous system tension, which feels like, yeah, there's something that's upgrading or something that I can't hold just yet. Do you have anything to say about those sensations that we might have in our bodies of just pain that comes at time?
When it comes to physical sensations, I always do two things. I will check, could this be physical? Like, could I actually be eating something like that could be causing this? Am I not drinking enough water? Or am I drinking tap water? I look at that side of things, very important. And when I say very important, because sometimes people kind of ignore that, oh, it's just a full moon or whatever it is. And also, yes, there's huge things happening cosmically, if that's a word. Huge. So for us that are more sensitive, we are really feeling it, especially tonight with the full moon. So this week, yesterday, so I sold my old car. The person who is like quite an, I say normal for lack of a better word, came over to pick up the car. And I just did a timeline shift activation yesterday. So, and I literally shifted timelines. So when he came to pick up the car, I couldn't just say, sorry, I'm shifting timelines right now. I couldn't even talk to the guy properly. I said, I'm so sorry. I just had a huge day and I just can't function right now. 3D things, writing the form to transfer my car. I was like, I don't even know how to complete this. What's going on here? So yes, there are huge things that are happening. So it makes sense. Hello, little one. Thank you for asking the question. Lovely.
Thank you.
Someone asked in
Said hello to you.
question said, what can help to connect with, embody, and integrate higher frequencies? What do you mean with that, Lovely? Are you here? Where is Elizabeth? Oh, hello. Can you tell me more?
I probably mean, yeah, with that chart of frequencies, how you got lower frequencies, higher frequencies of different emotions attached to those levels, how to connect with those higher levels and stay in those high levels for longer. The positive energies.
There's a number of things that you can do in order to do that. And ironically, one of them is fully embracing the full spectrum of all the frequencies. So for one way that I explain, imagine that you have a box. So like you have a box and you divide it in the middle. This side is the negative, this side is the positive. And then you may think, when I am in the positive side, I'm okay. When I'm in the negative, not so okay. What I like to do is to get rid of the box, get rid of the division in the middle and transform it into a circle and have it all there and fully accept them, the negative as well as you accept the positive, because it's the part of you, it's like the integration. And as you accept that, those parts are able to integrate more. And then because you're integrating, and I talk about like the lower chakras, the base, the sacral, and the solar plexus, for example, as you accept more the things that are going down there, like especially with the ego and the shadow, the inner child, then you start to integrate more all of the chakras. And then you start to vibrate at a higher frequency because you are in the full acceptance of all that is. That is, I could talk about the subject forever. So, but that is the best answer that just channeled through for me to share with you. Does that make sense? Yeah, is that helpful? Thank you, lovely. You also asked how to further develop psychic abilities. So the answer that I answered earlier about the trust, and the more you trust, the more you receive, that's a really good to develop your psychic abilities. And always, one thing that I always ask people, for what purpose would you like to develop your abilities? And do it like and then also do it like, imagine that you have this call a bi-weekly every, what's day today? Thursday. And you do the same every Monday, 7 p.m., I'm going to practice. And you practice. And it's always amazing to practice with other people because practice really does make it perfect. So let's say that you're able to do psychic readings, for example. I like, like some type of reading, go and practice that for somebody, because as you practice, it will bring up to the surface things that you need to work on. Without practicing, you won't know what needs to be worked on. Does that make sense? Great question. Catherine said, I long for an amazing relationship. I know he's out there and I enjoy imagining with him in a different timeline. How do I avoid longing for that love here in this reality and accidentally creating a lack vibe by feeling like it's not here now? Great question. Let me tune in where I would like to take that, where your higher self would like to take it. It's really about the answer that's coming up for you, Catherine. It's about fulfilling the parts of you that is longing with you being like now where you are. how can I fulfill my life and myself without the partner now so that I feel fulfilled, so that I then able, so that the universe can become a frequency match to how I'm feeling, which is fulfilled. So I can give you an example. I am single as well. Would love to be in a relationship. And I remember thinking, should I be on online dating? Should I be doing any of that? And I remember thinking, well, I don't have time for that now, but I feel so fulfilled with my mission right now that I can feel that the universe is sending somebody. It's becoming a frequency match because I am feeling so fulfilled with the work that I'm currently doing. And I remember when I was in Brazil, I was there for 4 months, really small, boring town. It was so great. I received a lot of healing. And I remember telling my friends, I want a husband. I want a husband because I was bored. I was over the weekend, there was nothing to do. I wasn't really doing my mission because I didn't have the capacity to hold containers. I didn't have capacity to be doing what I'm doing tonight because I was in healing, really deep healing phase. And since being back in Australia and being full back into my mission, I feel so fulfilled. I don't even think about a husband. I'm like, gosh, it's not the priority right now. And I am simultaneously open to have that person in my life. I trust that serves. And I would be looking into inner child healing. I follow quite a few accounts that have like relationship coaching into that relationship dynamics as well. Anything that can become a master of, a master of the things that you want to improve in your life. So learning more about relationship and dynamics, masculine, feminine. I trust that serves. Lovely. Myra, my dear one, does anybody have any other questions? I know that we just reached an hour. It's amazing.
Yeah, babe, I've got a couple of questions that are coming up.
Yeah.
Share with the group how important it is to deeply acknowledge the season that you are in your life.
Yes.
I think we don't talk about this enough because we compare to others perhaps and think we should be producing, serving, being activated on our mission. Speak to that.
Fantastic question. And I am a great example of that. So I was interviewed on Next Level. So May last year, the podcast featured a month, like the same month that I was blown over because of plant medicine. Guys, I was not in a state to go global, not. And I emailed them twice, said, please don't do this in like 2-3 months. But they have a schedule and they just replied to me with the date and time that they were going to do it. And I remember there were so many times that I thought I missed a chance, I missed an opportunity. I had to pull out my services and I just put a waiting list on my website and it was like 500 people on that waiting list and I couldn't even do anything. And obviously there were lots of people on the waiting list because they didn't know how much I charged. So everyone was, just putting their details. And one day I surrendered. I said, you know what? There's nowhere to get to. The universe is infinite. I am an eternal soul having a human experience. And if I don't get to finish this mission on this current lifetime in this physical body, I will do it sometime, some other time, somewhere else in the universe, whether it's here, whether it's whether it's on another planet. And there were times that was quite hard. So I avoided the use of social media because I would be following and seeing my friends. I have a lot of friends in this world and like just blowing and glowing and everything was going so well. And there were times that I would feel like a failure. And then when I made the decision, I said, no, I am in my winter season. I am going to honor this season and I just want to rest. I want to go to Brazil and I want to spend as long as I can there and be loved and nourished and fed by my family and friends. And that's all I'm going to do. And I was in a bit of a rush to launch a program because then I got invited to feature on Next Level Soul again. And I remember I got the invite, I got the interview was about to come. I didn't have a program. I remember thinking, okay, I trust when it's meant to come will come. And I had stopped doing one-on-one sessions because my programs were selling out. I didn't need to do one-on-one sessions anymore. And I remember in December, that was the only thing I had the capacity to do so. And doctors had diagnosed me with depression. But I actually had physical things going on. I had things going on with my thyroid, my B12 and iron were quite low. And obviously I was going through a spiritual awakening, a bit of a midlife crisis as well. What am I doing with my life? So that was the best thing I did. I felt ready. Even though I was feeling a bit depressed, I still felt ready to share my gifts to the world. It didn't mean that I wasn't gifted, because this is something I had my whole life. I need to be perfect. I need to be on my prime to be sharing my gifts to the world. And then I was like, actually, no, I don't. My gifts don't go anywhere because I'm feeling a bit down. And I had the capacity to offer one-on-one sessions, so I did. And I did that for 2 months. I did that while I was in Brazil. And guess what happened? My abilities, I created a soul blueprint reading session, and that just honed my abilities to a level that's never been. My abilities have just gone to the absolute next level. And I really got to understand where people are at, because I was having almost like the same conversations with different people. That I really got to understand what people want and to go quite intimate with people. I got so much more comfortable having group conversations and one-on-one conversations with people, which are now serving me so much. So my mentors, business mentors that I've had in the past, they would say, you are mad. You could never start doing one-on-one sessions again. That's not good. You can't do that. You can do so much better, rah, rah, rah. And I remember just listening to my intuition because of what Mara said, because of what the season that I was in, which was winter. And I was patient, and it was so worthwhile to be patient, because everything that didn't happen for about, let's say, 8 months is now happening honestly in a day, in 2 days, in a week. It is like almost like madness, in a good madness, in a good way. So the more you honor your season and where you're at, you like truly honor and say, you know what, let me just sit back and do the best I can with what I have and allow myself to be nourished. It's so important that you allow yourself to receive and be nourished during your winter season. I could stay, so I have a little holiday home in Brazil. My family has a holiday home. And there was everything there. I could just stay there. And I stayed mostly with my parents because I just wanted to be with parents. And I just wanted to make the most of them while they're alive. And mom is a fantastic cook and she loves cook. She's a housewife and she looks after my dad. So I'm like, I want to be looked after too. So the reason why I'm sharing this with you is because I really honored my winter, and now it's paying off so much. I trust that's supportive, Myra, how I shared about honoring your season.
Yeah, 100%. And yeah, I think it's a great topic for us to contemplate and accept that level of acceptance in the season that we are in. And a final question. Tell us more about this Black Panther.
So I was thinking, what am I going to wear tonight? It's like black, because you need to bring the Black Panther energy. I don't usually wear black during my activations or anything like this. Like it's usually lighter or brighter colors. And when I first did ayahuasca, so I have an Amazonian indigenous background, and my nephew actually worked with the tribes. We have a very strong connection. And I had a beautiful Black Panther show herself in one of my journeys. And then I was initiated in the Munaki rites, which is these shamanic rites. And when we do the Munaki rites, the sacral is the Black Panther, the Black Jaguar. And 2 weeks we were being initiated with the Black Jaguar in 2019. And I remember thinking, I was dreaming, it was intense, this Black Panther in my room. Then she kept coming in my dreams and saying, I need to be in your life. I need to be in your life. I need to be physically in your life. And I found the black cat and I saw a photo of her online, and straight away she said, it's her. And she's sitting right in front of us. She's so cute. Luna. So she's so many activations that this cat has brought into my life. It's like insane. And now the Black Panther is always in the field, and she was in the field and she said she wanted to come on in my car, which is a black car, which is, I think the car is very sexy. It named itself Black Panther. So she said, I want to be with you in as many places. I want to be reminded of my presence as much as I can. And I felt her presence quite strongly during the activation tonight. So when you may have noticed that she comes like with the purring sounds, and she has a very, very strong. So if you're ever wanting to call in more of that trust, more of that confidence, more of the way that you hold that goddess confidence in the world, you call in the Black Panther, and she will come in and she will just transform your life. So I just felt that she really wanted to connect because of the feline energy that this group has. She really wanted to connect with the group.
It just translates so beautifully, because during that activation, it felt like a cat was curled up, resting on my chest, and the reverberations of the cat's purr were absolutely filling my field and going through even the electrical currents of my heart. The cat purr was able to reach that. So yeah, it's a beautiful new bit of data for me to meet the Black Panther.
Amazing. Yes. And one thing that Myra and I spoke about, so when I tune in, I have connected with these leopard feline beings, and when I connect with them, so I get intense visuals. I see this Egyptian place. It's like Egyptian with pyramids. Imagine like the new earth where we are co-creating with light beings. We're walking around, there's Arcturians, and it's very Egyptian. And like I see the color of your eyes, Myra, a lot, like in the water, in the crystals. And I see you as one of these feline beings that's wearing the white, and I am one of these feline beings wearing the black. So like even tonight with you wearing white and I'm wearing black, it's like holding holding some type of pillars that I'm still understanding, because as soon as we jumped on the call that I saw you, that this started to download. So I'll let you know if more comes through, but like paying attention to these signs and these synchronistic signs, for it's so important, and it brings so much into your day-to-day life, these synchronistic signs.
Yeah, I'm happy to watch where that conversation goes, for sure, how that progresses. Yeah, I see it as soon as you describe it. I see that place. Yes, immediately. So ladies, are there any other questions? Anything else jumping out? Yeah, beautiful, Jess. Yeah, thanks so much for being here this evening. Well, ladies, if there's no other questions, you can connect with Rubia through, well, Rubia, do you want to tell the ladies where they can find you on your Facebook page or on Instagram? Yeah.
You can find me on which is the name on the screen, Rubia Lacerda. You can find me on Instagram, Facebook. Myra did tag me on Facebook, and you can find everything there. My details, my website, it's all there. And if there's anything that came up today and you want to ask a question or you want to share or you're not sure, please feel free to message me. I'm more than happy to chat. Love chatting, as you can see. And would love to connect with you all. So if you follow me, I'll find you, follow you back, or add you. It would be amazing to connect. And thank you so much, beautiful humans.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for the invite. Lovely. Thank you so much. Oh, and I invite you guys to, in the next couple of days, be really gentle with yourself, because the activation was quite strong. So drink lots of water, eat healthy. And if emotions, things come up to the surface, know that there's probably going to be a little bit of a purge, so that you can be in full alignment to merge with that timeline version of you, and keep tuning in, keep connecting, letting that version of you keep bringing messages so you can quantum leap into that timeline.
Amazing. Thank you so much. So beautiful to have your presence here. Yes. Thanks, Jess. Thanks, Catherine. Thanks, everyone. Beautiful work tonight, everyone. And thanks for joining us. Lots of love. Good night.
Bye.
Bye.